So today we're going to do the handover on the Bailey Autograph 7940T. We're going to start on the outside and then we're going to move on to the inside. Firstly, coming over to your passenger side, you've got your fill-up points, which are just here. You've got your diesel and then you've got your AdBlue, which is just below. Opening up your passenger door, you'll notice that you've got your remis cab blinds, which are on the side here. To operate these, simply pinch and pull out, and then connect to the other side. You've got them here at the front and also on the other side as well. What I typically find, and this is a rule of thumb with anything in a motorhome, is if it feels like it's being forced, you're obviously doing something wrong, so just take a minute to think about it. With these particular blinds, what I typically find is easiest is if you lead from the bottom and allow it to connect to the side. Typically, if you lead from the top, it'll get caught at the bottom and get stuck. So it's just something to think about. Clip that back in and then you're good to go. You'll also notice on this side, you've got your bonnet release catch, which is on your passenger side. And coming round to the bonnet, I'll just lift the bonnet now for you. The main things that you need to know underneath here is if you're ever going to jump start the vehicle. I'll lift the bonnet now so you can have a look. With the bonnet up, you can see that you've firstly got your jumper point here. So this is your negative point. And then just underneath this cap here, there's a little positive symbol on it. And that's where you can connect your positive to jump start the vehicle. Just to point out a couple of things as well whilst I'm here. You've got your engine oil there and your dipstick. You've then got your brake disc fluid, your engine coolant, your power steering fluid, which is next to that. And then in there, you've then got your washer fluid. They're the main things that you need to know underneath the bonnet, and I'll carry on around the outside. Moving to the side of the vehicle, you'll notice that you've got your hookup point here for electrics, so when you're on site, you've got mains electrics, which is on this side. In this compartment here, you then have your toilet cassette. When emptying the toilet cassette, the main thing that you need to know is that or make sure of rather, is that the blade on the toilet is closed. That'll allow you then to remove this cassette in one fluid of motion without it getting stuck. Again, like I said with the remis cab blinds, if this feels like it's getting stuck, as I say, you're probably doing something wrong. Typically you will have probably left the blade open, so make sure that you don't do that, don't force it. Just take a minute just to check what you're doing. As I say, make sure that blade is closed when removing, so you can remove it like so. To empty this cassette, simply pull out this arm, unscrew the cap, and then when you're on site, you'll have a grid that you can dump it into. Simply pull this out and empty it. When emptying, you'll notice that on the back of the cassette, you've got an orange button, which is there. What that does is it releases a vacuum, which ensures that all the contents go out in one steady slurry. And you'll also notice that on this part of the cassette, you've also got like a handle. This handle is what makes contact with the actual blade. Obviously this needs to make sure that this is in this position when putting in, and obviously when coming out. And this is just something that connects with the blade just to open and close the cassette. You don't need to do anything with that. Simply slide that back in, let it clip into here, slide that like so, and that's your cassette in. Moving round, you've then got your fridge vents, which are on the side here, and then just below your fridge vent, you've also got your whale hookup point for your water, and this is how you fill your water tank. So, just to explain this, because it's a little bit different to the usual systems found on motorhomes, what you need to do is when you're on site, you'll have a whale pump. You'll then connect your whale pump onto here, or hose rather. You'll connect the hose onto here, and then connect it up to the tap, which is on the campsite. Then turn the tap on at the on the campsite, and allow the water to run through the hose and then into the tank. Once you've done that, you need to go on the inside and select your pump. Turn your pump on, and that'll allow all the water to pump into the actual water tank, and then you can fill it up. Whilst we're on the subject of your water, you'll know that you'll need your fresh water, your wastewater, and also your boiler drain down points. For this particular vehicle, all them drain down points are on the inside of the vehicle, which I will show you. The only drain down point rather is that is external is the wastewater, which is external to the vehicle, which is just underneath here, which I'll move on to. But the the fresh water rather, and your boiler point is all on the inside. Moving along, you'll notice that you've got your truma vents here. In essence, this is the vehicle's chimney. It gets very hot, so make sure you don't put anything on there and just be careful of it. Underneath here, as I mentioned, you've got one of your drain down points, which is your wastewater. As I say, this is the only one that's external to the vehicle. The other two are internal. To open this, simply turn this, and that'll empty all the water out. When you're on site, you'll have a huge grid that you can drive over. Simply turn that, and that'll empty all the water out. And what we say, whilst I'm on the topic of the drain down, is keep all the when you have drained down the majority of the water, you can keep all your drain down points open, including your boiler. Because at the end of the day, it's just water. So, and the vibrations of the road are going to make sure that the tank is empty when you're travelling home. And as I say, it's just water, so there's no harmful chemicals that can affect anything. So just leave them open as you're travelling home to make sure all that water gets out of the system. Moving around to the back, you've got your storage locker, which is on the back here, thanks to your two raised beds, which is just into the back there. On this specific model, they've gone for a bike rack, which you'll notice is just on the back there, and you've got your reversing camera as well, which is just above. Moving round, another access point into your garage. You then got your barbecue point, which is on the side here. You'll need a bayonet fitting for that. And then finally your gas bottles, which are in here. The main thing with the gas bottles is to always have them closed at the bottle when travelling due to safety. And obviously you'll need to connect a pigtail up to them to make sure that you can use the gas on the inside of the vehicle. Finally, on this side of the vehicle, you'll notice that you've got a socket here which can connect to an aerial, which would be a separate aerial if you want to. And that's just on the outside of the vehicle. Before moving on to the inside, I'm just going to show you that you've got your awning, which is on the side here. Simply connect your pole onto this side and simply wind it out. You've then got some legs which drop out of the awning. Let it take the weight of the awning and then simply walk it out. So angle the legs, then wind it a bit, angle the legs and wind it about a bit, just like that. Once you've done that, to put it away, just do the exact same, just in reverse, and then you're good to go. The rule with the awning though is if it is raining or windy, don't use it, because it's going to degrade the awning and potentially snap it if it is high winds. Moving into the vehicle, just to show you, you've got your control panel, which is just above the habitation door. So to talk you through your control panel, relatively easy. So simply click your main button and that'll turn on the whole system. You'll notice when you click this power button, it'll say master on. As it says, this is the master switch, so it'll activate everything and allow your use of it. So coming over here, just simply, you've firstly got your lights, which you'll notice have turned on the lights on the interior of the vehicle. And underneath that, you've got a light which controls the door light, which is on the outside of the van. You then notice that you've got your pump button here. If you click that, obviously only click it once you've got the water in the system or you're filling up, as I mentioned, outside, and that'll allow you to use it. Quickly priming your system, what you need to do is when you're on site and you've filled it up, so you've filled all your tanks up with water, you then need to keep the pump on and go to your taps, including your shower, turn it on and turn it to hot. That's then going to pull water from the freshwater tank through the pipe system. And if you turn it to hot first, it'll then pull it through your boiler, priming your boiler and your pipes. It'll then come out your tap and spurt and splutter. And then once it's running steadily, you know that you've primed your system for your hot water. As I say, do that for the shower as well, so you've made sure that you've primed that. And once you've done that on the hot, you need to flick it over to cooled and do the exact same thing. As I say, once it's running steadily, you've primed your system. You'll also notice with this pump button, if you leave this on and you've primed your system, you can do, that's absolutely fine, because you've got micro switches on each of your taps, so it'll only activate the pump when you need it. It's just similar to as you would get in your house. Coming back to the control panel, they're the main controls that you need to know, but if you want to just view your levels and things like that, if you use these two buttons up and down, you can flick through your options. So you've got firstly your settings. You then got, as I say, your fill tank. So when you are when you're filling up your fresh water tank, click your pump on, and then you can fill it up and it'll show you level. Scrolling through, you then got your battery select. We recommend always keeping it on leisure. If you wanted to select that, you can simply click this button here. So to flick through the options, it's the up and down keys, and then to select, it's this key here. But as I say, for the battery select, keep it on leisure, because what that means is if it ever does get flat, your leisure battery, you definitely don't want that draining off your vehicle battery, because you could actually be stuck with, obviously, without any power, so you couldn't drive off. So make sure you keep it on leisure. You definitely don't want it running off your vehicle battery. Moving on, you've then got your waste level. I've got some in the tank at the moment, as you can see, about half full, so you're 50%, so it shows you there. Your water level, as we say, we've not got anything in at the moment. Once you fill that up, it'll show you. External temperature, internal temperature, and if I keep flicking through, you've got your leisure current and your voltage. Just like that. And that is basically all the settings when flicking through the panel, which are dead easy. Firstly, as well, you'll also notice this settings. You can, change the display, the sound, the temperature unit, etc., and things like that. To be honest with you, it's something that you'll probably never go into. The main things are them bits, just flicking through your levels to see obviously what levels you're at, and also operating your pump and your lights and your master switch, just like that. Coming away from your control panel, I'm next going to move on to the lounge. So, firstly, underneath the floor, what you'll notice is you've got a panel. Located in that panel is a little bit of storage, and then below that is where your leisure batteries are kept. So if I was to open this up for you, you'll notice, as I say, a bit of storage, and then below you've got another panel which will come out, and that's for your leisure batteries. With your leisure batteries, you don't need to do anything with them. Leave them as they are, and they'll just get topped up by the solar panel, which is already on board. Coming into the lounge, you've got obviously overhead storage here and here. In this particular storage area, you've got your aerial, which has already been fitted. With this, to operate it, all you need to do is unscrew this, simply push up the stalk, and then screw this into place and tighten it. You can then use this little arm to tilt the head of the aerial, depending on signal and things like that and range. You need to also make sure that you turn the unit on. A lot of people forget that they need to turn it on. At the moment, you can see it's on thanks to the blue light. The switch is just on the top up here. You can see off, no blue light, on is indicated by the light. You've also got this little dial that you can play around with, just to play around with the range and things like that. Coming round to the other side, you'll notice that you've got a cupboard here. Underneath here, you've then got your RCD breaker. And also your fuses, so if the vehicle ever trips, you need to come to here. A little trick as well is you'll notice that you've got a little button here, which is a test button. So if you're on site and you're getting power to the vehicle, but you can't, and you're plugged in rather, but you can't get any power to the vehicle, so none of your lights or anything will be working, or you can't get your microwave, for example, to work, you need to come to here and click this test button. If all these trip, you know that you're getting power to the vehicle, so it's not a problem with the site, it's not a fault with your mains hookup lead or as I say, the site's electric, it's a problem with your van, and all that does is it helps you isolate the problem. From there, you can then look through your fuses and contact ourselves just to give you some guidance. But it gives you an idea, and as I say, it's all there for you. Just above this area as well, you've got another storage area. The main thing in here is a solar panel regulator, which you'll notice there. A lot of people think they have to mess around with the solar panel, but you can leave it literally just as it is, and that's just going to, feed a constant charge to that leisure battery, like so. Moving back through to the kitchen area, you'll notice that you've got this radiator. This particular vehicle uses Alde heating system, which is a wet central heating system. Now, to operate this, if you go to your kitchen area, you'll notice that you've got a panel here, which says Alde on the top. So, to operate all your heating, what you need to do is you click this button, and that'll turn on the unit. Just wait for that to load up. If you then click your menu, you've then got your options. So firstly is your vehicle's temperature. So using the plus button, you can flick through the options. So you can set it at 30 at the moment, or if you want to minus it, you can do to decrease the temperature, like so. Below that, you've then got your water temperature. So at the moment, you can have it at high, medium, or off. The nice thing with that, in the middle, at that point, you're probably going to be using that when you have a shower, and then if you put it on max, that's when you're going to be using it, you know, to wash your dishes and things like that. Underneath, you've then got your option of fuel in it, so you can either have it on 1 kilowatt electric, and this is how you fuel the entire water system, heating system rather. So you can either fuel it off 1 kilowatt electric or 2 kilowatt electric, and in some cases 3 kilowatt electric, depending on what site provides you the power. So you've got that option there. Or if you are wild camping and you've got no access to electric mains hookup, you'll notice that you've got a gas button there, which will then run off the entire system off gas. You've then got your settings here, so you can play around with the brightness and things like that, and if you ever need to reset it, which is just into there. Simply click that just to turn it off, and that's your Alde heating system. Very simple, and as I say, that'll control your water heating and your heating in the vehicle. Moving on to the kitchen area, we've spoken about obviously doing your tap, you know, priming your system. You'll notice that you've got your hob here, which is all done by gas with an igniter switch, and then just above the sink area is your microwave. It's worth mentioning that will only run off 230 volts, so it won't run off your leisure battery. So you need to be hooked up to use that. You've then got your cupboards here for more storage. You can see you've got your book packs, and then underneath here, again, more bits of storage which you can use, like so. In this fast storage locker, you'll also notice that you've got some taps there, some grey taps. You might find some more around the vehicle. All they are isolation valves. You need to make sure that they're open at all times. Only use them when you are advised to by myself or a technician. Coming around, we'll go into the bathroom area just in a minute, but you'll notice that you've got your fridge. This is the brand new fridge from Dometic, and it's very easy to operate. Firstly, you'll notice that you've got two areas to access it, so you can either access it from this side or access it from this side. So it just increases usability. However, to use this system, I'm just going to go through the controls and how to use it now. All you need to do, hold the button. You'll notice that the panel comes on. You've firstly up at the top got your fridge temperature. Below that, you've then got, you'll notice, a selection of what fuel you want to use. So using the button here, flicking through the options, you'll notice I can flick between which ones I want to select. So you can see if I click this, you can alter the temperature of the fridge. Just click to select. To then go down, I can then select the fuel. I've put it on auto, so if you wanted, it'll automatically assign whatever gas or fuel you've got to power the fridge. Just whilst I'm on this panel, you'll notice that you've got obviously your leisure battery up at the top, your mains hookup, and also gas. Your gas, you're going to be using that when you're wild camping. Your mains, you're going to be using that when you're on site and hooked up. And your 12-volt battery, your leisure battery, you're going to be using that when you're travelling on the road. A lot of people think that they can run the system off the 12-volt battery when wild camping. However, you can't, because it'll simply just draw too much power. So it's just something to bear in mind with that. However, as I say, I've selected it on auto. If you select it on auto, it'll just automatically assign whichever fuel you've got. Finally, at the bottom, it just gives you a few settings so you can alter the screen, the brightness of the screen rather, and things like that, and vice versa. Just like so. To turn it off, all I need to do is hold the button in and signal by the beep. It indicates that it's off. Just something quickly with the fridge as well, which is worth mentioning. the fridge does a very good job at maintaining temperature, but doesn't do the best of jobs at getting it down to temperature. So, if you want things to be frozen in the freezer, put frozen things in. And if you want cooled things to be in the fridge, put cooled things in. As I say, it does a very good job at maintaining the temperature, but not the best of jobs at getting it down to temperature. You know, it's not as powerful as a domestic fridge, so just bear that in mind. Moving to the back, I'll do the bathroom area in a minute, but just moving to the back, you've got your 2 single beds here, along with obviously your drain down points, which I'm going to show you. On each side, you've got a bit of storage, and one on that side as well. Once in the bedroom area, just to show you in here, you'll notice that you've got an expansion tank here. All that tank is for your Alde heating system, and that contains your glycol solution, which is basically an antifreeze, so it stops the system from freezing. So you don't need to mess around with that. That'll just be topped up on service, but it's just so you're aware what that is. And obviously you've got some hanging space in here, like that. On the other side, just into here, you've got where the table's stored for the lounge area, and as I say, more storage. Underneath the beds, you got access underneath here for storage. You'll also notice another panel which is, goes below there for more storage. These are each on, as you can see, hinges, so you can access the area beneath. On the other side, it's a very similar, looks very similar. You can obviously open this area, and the same thing with that to access the storage beneath. The only difference with this is in this side, on the left hand side, is where your boiler is contained. As I say, your boiler is an Alde heating system, which just by removing this panel, which I'll do in a minute, you'll be able to see. I'm going to do that now so you can see your drain down point and obviously the boiler. Once that panel's been removed, as I say, you can see your boiler system. It looks very complicated, however the only thing that you need to know underneath here is your boiler drain down point. That yellow toggle which is right there, which at the moment is in the down position, is your boiler drain down. When opening this, you need to simply flick that up, that toggle, and that'll drain down the entire boiler system. And then when you're closing it, simply put it in the position it is at the moment, and that'll allow you to close it. With your boiler, it's key that you always drain down this system, because you don't want frozen water in the system. So ensure that whenever you're storing the vehicle, always have this drain down, because as I say, you don't want it in the system, because it'll just it'll crack your boiler, and it's a bit of a nightmare. So make sure you don't do that. Whilst we are on the topic of your drain down points, obviously I've been over the wastewater drain down point, which is on the outside of the vehicle. You've then got your freshwater drain down point, which is on the inside of the vehicle, which is located in the floor, which I'll show you now. Here's where your fresh water is located. As I say, it's in the floor. Just remove the panel here and unscrew the cap, and you'll also notice, once you've done that, you can see a plug. When draining this system down, all you need to do is put your hand in there, drain down that system, so pull out that plug, and that'll drain down the entire freshwater tank. As I say, like your wastewater and your boiler drain down point, you can leave this open when travelling. So, just to go over just to conclude your drain down points, you've got your freshwater, which is located in this panel here on the inside, just before your lounge. You've then got your boiler drain down point, which is on the inside again, which is in the rear of the vehicle, underneath your bed. And then you've then got your final drain down point, which is your wastewater drain down, which is on the outside of the vehicle, which is done by turning that grey handle, as I showed you. Once the panel's back on, you'll notice it looks like this. And just coming back through to your bedroom area, you'll notice that you've got a similar panel looking here. That's just for your wastewater. And if I was to put this up, you'll notice you've got a similar cap to what you had on your freshwater. The only reason this is here is so you can clean out your freshwater tank if you ever need to. So don't get this confused for the freshwater if you're wanting to obviously drain down and things. Like so. You then got this panel which lifts up so you can use that area for storage in the back. And that concludes the rear area. Before I finish up on the handover, you'll notice that on all your windows you've got your blackout blinds and also your fly screens, which come from the top. You've then got these latches on your windows, which all you need to do is undo, simply push out, and then using the black knob on either side, tighten so you can fix the window in place. You can have these on venting, however always make sure that all your windows, including your skylights, you've got one above your cab and also throughout the vehicle. Just make sure that they're obviously all closed when travelling. That concludes the handover on the 794T. I hope you enjoyed.